There's a well-known episode in Brazil's history dubbed the vaccination revolt, when thousands of people took to the streets of Rio de Janeiro to protest government-mandated smallpox vaccinations in 1904. Almost 120 years later, the idea of forcing people to be vaccinated is again becoming an issue, as strategies to use the COVID-19 vaccine are being planned. These people are protesting against mandatory vaccinations recently proposed by São Paulo's governor João Dória Jr. São Paulo authorities announced their plans to begin vaccinations on January 25th using the Chinese-developed CoronaVac vaccine, even if the final efficacy results of the medication and the approval of Brazil's federal health regulators for its use are still pending.
Aqui, os 45 milhões de brasileiros de São Paulo serão vacinados.
We will vaccinate the 45 million Brazilians who live in São Paulo. In our state, vaccination will be mandatory. Only those who show a medical reason not to take the vaccines will be allowed to opt out, and we are ready to take any legal measures needed to make this happen.
President Bolsonaro took to social media and tweeted, "The government will offer the vaccine to everyone. It will be free and non-mandatory."
The most important thing is to respect individual liberties. Every patriot has to have the right to decide to take or not the vaccine.
I don't like vaccines. I never take vaccines that are usually given to people, so the idea of mandatory vaccination is absurd for me.
According to a recent poll, most Brazilians say they want to be vaccinated for sure. 24% say they may want the vaccine and 8% say they don't want it. But when asked whether it should be mandatory, respondents were evenly split.
I think it has to be mandatory. Even if you don't take care of yourself, you have to worry about the others, like your family and colleagues at work.
I think it's hard to make it compulsory, but I hope all people will use their conscience and vaccinate themselves, because this is a disease you can transmit to others.
From a technical point of view, the drawing of vaccination plans seems to be advancing in Brazil. However, there are still political disputes that could create additional difficulties for this process. Next week, the country's Supreme Court is expected to rule on cases about whether states and cities have the right to determine compulsory vaccinations in their territories and if individuals can refuse to take the vaccine based on ideological and religious grounds.
Discussão em relação à vacinação obrigatória, é preciso ter vacina para todos.
Before we really get into the discussion of mandatory vaccination, we need to actually have vaccines for all. So if we don't have yet vaccines that we are sure to be efficient to stop transmission of the disease, why are we talking about it being compulsory or not? In the first stage of vaccination, campaigns will have to focus on dealing with the severity of the epidemic, offering the vaccine to those who are at a greater risk.
There is much anticipation in Brazil about a vaccine that could end the pandemic, but still many doubts when it comes to how vaccination plans will be implemented. Paulo Cabral, CGTN, São Paulo.